Hi, my name is Chelsea Griffith. My senior year in high school, I was diagnosed with a connective tissue disorder called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. That same year, I lost my best friend to a car accident. I felt like the only person in the world that understood what I was going through had just passed away. I spiraled into a depression and didn't have any hope for life anymore. I didn't want to go to school. I laid on the couch. I didn't eat. I lost a lot of weight. I lost all my friends. I just was consumed by the hurt and the pain that the death and the diagnosis had left me with. My life was different after the diagnosis. I was no longer a 17-year-old girl who could play any sport she wanted. I could hardly lift a gallon of milk. In 2017, my Ehlers-Danlos took a turn for the worse, and I was hospitalized over 5 times in 1 year. The doctors, my parents, friends, even my husband at the time still didn't really believe what was going on with me. It was an invisible illness that couldn't be seen on the outside. I looked normal to everybody. One evening, they couldn't even get a temperature on me, and I went into hypothermic shock. I was in ICU for 4 days. I laid there just wanting to give up and ask God to take over because I had nothing left anymore. I had IVs coming out of every arm, and the doctors still couldn't figure out what was wrong. They sent me home thinking it was all in my head. I just didn't know what else to do. I kept asking God why He was doing this to someone who had lived their life as righteous as they could. I was a teacher, I was healthy, I did everything I thought was right, but my body was giving out on me. And I didn't understand why God was doing that. I didn't understand why God wasn't giving the doctors the knowledge to help me, or my parents the knowledge to help me. I had to lay there at the mercy of nothing but God. I just didn't understand. I just cried and cried and cried, and I remember laying there with rags over my eyes, and I don't remember anything else but the darkness and repeating, God, take me, God, handle this, because nobody else could in that moment. I found myself completely destroyed, broken, in shambles, with nowhere to go. All I had was my parents. I had lost all my friends through divorce, and through them not understanding my invisible illness. I looked like I was making up stuff. Even the doctors called me crazy. It's hard to stand by someone when you don't know what they're going through. I had lost everything, and I realized that God didn't put me in that position to punish me. Even though at the time it felt that way, it felt like I was dying, it felt like nobody understood me. But I realized that He put me in all these positions in my life to make me stronger, and that's when I decided to go all in with God, and He slowly started to turn my life around. I joined Motivation, I joined the Dream Team. I just remained steady in one thing, that I had to feel my feelings. I couldn't run away anymore. I was there, I was stuck. I had to feel it, and I had to deal with it. And I did that through journaling, whether it was writing to God, writing to me, writing a prayer. I had to get it out because that meant that it was real and I could deal with it. If I didn't get it out, I couldn't deal with it. Throughout my life, God gave me many opportunities to rebuild, starting at a very young age with a traumatic childhood, losing my best friend, losing my aunt, being diagnosed with an invisible illness, being diagnosed with gastroparesis, being called crazy, going through a divorce, almost losing my job, my house. Each time I tried to rebuild, each time I failed. But that was okay, because God gave me another chance. But what I didn't realize is that as long as I had Him by my side each time when I was rebuilding, I was gonna be okay. And this is my rebuild story.